Let's move on. 1 p.m. Eastern. Seattle Seahawks 7-7, 4-3 on the road. The Kansas City Chiefs 11-3, 5-1 at home. We're at Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. 9 Fahrenheit. Mostly sunny, 9 miles per hour. The weather's changing there too. A lot of changing in the weather over 24, 48 hours, but still very, very cold. Let's take a look at the line history here in Seattle, Kansas City. I'm excited about this game. How bad are the Seahawks? That's the question that everyone needs to ask themselves. The market's moved towards the Seahawks. It was plus 10 at minus 106 at Pinnacle. That plus 10 is now minus 121, so it's a 9.5. From a totals per situation, we have the opening at 49, and it's dropped to 48. That just seems a little high, but the Chiefs are a real tricky cap. How many times have you watched the Chiefs put up 450 to 520 yards, and you look at the scoreboard and they're at 21 points or 24 points, or it's fascinating watching this team go. Let's take a look at where the cash lies here. They have just 4,917 tickets in. And even though the market is moving towards the Seahawks, 60% of the tickets are on the Seahawks, but just 27% of the cash. So big bets are coming in on Kansas City here. 45% of tickets and 93% of the cash is on that under. Wow, interesting. Yeah. I didn't expect that. Seahawks are on extra rest and prep after an ugly 21-13 loss at home to the 49ers on Thursday night. They've now lost 4 of 5, just 277 total yards, 4 of 13 on third down. They made one appearance in the red zone late in the fourth. Gino was 31 of 44 for 238 yards, 1 touchdown. Lockett caught 7 for 68. Metcalf caught 7 for 55. Kenneth Walker Jr. returned from injury, ran 12 times for 47, caught 4 for 32 and a touchdown. The defense was unable to put pressure on Brock Purdy in his first ever road game. Finished with 1 sack and 3 quarterback hits. Seattle was without starting defensive tackle, Al Woods. We talked all about that all week. He didn't come back, Achilles tendon injury. Then they lost his backup in the first quarter. It was a wild game because at that point when Brian Moen left the backup to Al Woods, you should have just knew exactly what was going to happen here. But I still went 6.5 on the Seahawks. That was the loser. Plus 9.5, which was a fortunate catcher, and then plus 17. I did that wrong looking back at it. Jordan Brooks also is dealing with a neck injury. You can't get new information on it, but didn't play in the fourth quarter. Noli No says, bet a lot of unders this week. I know you did, Noli. I know you did, my man. It's great to have you here. Noli coming off another winning week on NFL Pop-Up. He's 5 for 5 in the black on NFL Pop-Up. Chiefs coming off barely defeating the Texans in Houston 30-24 in overtime. And in my head, I have them as the third best team in the AFC. I don't believe that they're as good as the Bengals and the Bills, and I might be wrong because I look 502 total yards against a team that had 219 total yards, and they won in overtime because of a fumble after not succeeding on their first drive. It's just they set a franchise record with their 19th straight game with at least 300 yards, ninth straight game with at least 400 yards. I mean, what an offense! But I look at these stats. It's hard to figure them out. Mahomes was spectacular. 36 of 41 for 336 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. And they needed luck to win in overtime against the Texans. 35 touchdown passes this season. 5th player in NFL history at 35 or more in 4 or more seasons. Brady, Rodgers, Breeze, and Manning. Kelsey caught 10 for 105. Juju Smith-Schuster caught 10 for 88, but he lost a fumble. Pacheco ran 15 times for 86 yards, and he lost a fumble. Jerick McKinnon looks really good. 10 carries for 52 yards, a touchdown, caught 8 for 70, and then the winning touchdown. The defense allowed the Texans to go 3 of 4 in the red zone. Came very close to losing this one outright. Finished with 1 sack and 5 quarterback hits. Take it away, Andy. I find this game fascinating. Seahawks 10 or 9.5. You have a move?
Yeah, I've lost some money on the Seahawks over the last, since about Germany, I think. But the number is a little too big. I'm with you that Kansas City is not as good as Cincinnati, nor the Buffalo Bills. They're probably the third best team. That gap is not huge, but at the same time, they have the best player in the league. And he can get you out of a lot of sticky situations. We've seen it all year. And it's funny how we don't even react properly anymore, I don't think. He's we're just so used to him doing amazing things like that. Is the dunk touchdown that he ran in, the sideways pass. I mean, the one early game of the season where he had the little floater over the top into the end zone. So just stuff other people can't do. I almost looked at this under, but I struggle with how bad the Seattle Seahawks defense has been playing the last few weeks. I know Kansas City hasn't been running up the score. It's not the same kind of offense it's had in years past with Hill. But man, they are just not a team that's covering. You're still paying like this premium for Kansas City, and the way Seattle's been playing it's kind of like the stock market, guys. Like, how do you don't beat the NFL? It's hard picking winners. The best way to beat the NFL is just end up with good early numbers or being ahead of the market on things. People who have Cowboys -1, those are the people that beat the NFL. And it's the same kind of thing here. If you're buying low on a team, it's definitely a spot to buy low on Seattle. I don't think their defense is going to look that good, but Kansas City has been a little turnover heavy, and the red zone offense is not as good as I'd hoped for. I worry about this team against there's like 3 or 4 teams that I think absolutely could take out Kansas City, even on the road in the AFC playoffs. So not a team I like laying 10 even at home. This is not one of my favorite ones, but boy, 10 is too many. So I did take some Seattle here.
Did you want to make Seattle official here?
Yeah. I mean, if it's still a 10, I bet this.
All right, let's find out. Yes. Oh.
So that's the thing. If you can find a 10, Chris is down to 9.5.
Yeah, the 10's -121 at penny.
I poke around a little.
9.5.
Did you have any action on this one?
Sorry?
Did you have any action on this?
No, I've not made a single bet going into this show. I feel like I do my best in that situation. I know we've talked a lot about getting in early, but there was a 3-week run here on the show where getting in early was hurting me badly because of questionable injury situations where I expected certain players to be out of lineup and they were in the lineup, or I had a capper who I respect talk to me about my mistake was getting in too early. So there's so many moving parts to succeeding in NFL, and
Oh no, you're for sure right. Like there's games where you don't want to get in early with the injuries. It's getting in early if you're sure the market's moving that direction is kind of what I was alluding to there. If like if you had the Hurts injury news before the market did, that's the kind of stuff that's going to keep you afloat.
Oh wow, Dennis found us the 10 at -113 at Bet Online. Let me just move over.
There we go.
Move over to Bet Online. Our friends at Bet Online. There it is, right there. +10 at -113. It actually dropped. It got up to -116 and dropped. It's gone down to 9.5 and back up to 10. +10 at -113 for the Seahawks. Again, we have a promo with Bet Online. If you're opening up a new account and you type in Pub Sports, they will match your buying up to $1,000. They will match it up to $1,000. Pub Sports is the code.
Birdie's hitting on the big thing, the big news locket with the hand surgery. Sounded like they're calling it the perfect surgery. He's going to be back so soon. Obviously not this weekend, but they have seen Goodwin step up a little. So it's still a dangerous offense. That's where I did tend to lean away from this under that I liked off the bat. So looking for Seattle to just keep an ugly game close.
All right, Andy is locked in. Seahawks +10 at -113. Noli knows agreeing with the under. It's a pretty high total for 9 Fahrenheit. The wind isn't big, but it's a pretty high total. Now, Dennis Garcia has moved on the over, our Sky Dragon in the chat, but we look at the cash flow here, and there are big bets that have been placed on this under. And it stopped me in my tracks because 55% of the tickets are on the over, but just 7% of cash is on the over. So big.
I don't know why I can't remember this, but where are the splits from again?
Oh, Sports Insights?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Sports Insights splits. All right, we move on. Andy as locked in Seahawks +10 at -113. team.